Peter Brock in the lead for the second time in this race. He knows that Johnson's had his pit stop. He knows that Johnson's on fresh tyres. They'll take some bedding in. That means that now if Brock can make up time by really forcing his hold on Commodore hard in these few laps before his pit stop, he can make up valuable seconds on the road before he has to take his stop and then rely on his pit crew to make up valuable seconds in the pits. Brock disappointed that he's dropped back into second position, now back into the lead, and he is flying. Taking every opportunity to pass slower motor cars, drifting it right out wide there, not taking his pit stop this time through. But we know that if Dick Johnson has taken his stop, that Peter Brock must be only a short distance away. He holds up his hand high that time as he passes his pit. Could be the next time round. Crew members, in fact, getting ready near the front tyres. Dick Johnson's pit stop so slow, in fact, that if Brock looks across the circuit, he can just about see Dick Johnson in front of him, almost a lap down. There's Brock. Look at the way he turns into that corner on the back straight. He just flips the car in. A beautiful controlled driver is Peter Brock. Probably not a better driver in Australia, frankly. She slips under the chickadee chicken car. That's how hard he's going when he's just working his way through the traffic with that sort of pace and finesse. Look at the way his hands are working on the wheel, keeping attitude off the motor car, keeping the car as flat as he possibly can on the track. Taking all the pressure himself. You've got to be fit to drive a car like that. Will his pit stop be this time round? Drifts wide, he could duck across the track, but no, he takes the option to go one more lap. Hand up again. I think his pit crew are wondering as much as we are what that hand means, because sooner or later he's got to come in. Still standing by the front tyre. When will he come in? Bruce Nowacki, the blonde-headed man there on the left of screen, doing additions on his hand now, trying to work out with the pen, trying to work out how long Peter Brock's got to go on his consumption. Something that must be concerning Brock as well, because he's almost on an economy run at this particular stage. Flames belch out the side of Brock's car as unburned fuel burns itself off on the exhaust pipe. From the car, that left-hand front tyre must be feeling the pace at this time, not giving him the control it must have done earlier in the event. Brock's lead is 57 seconds, so he's extended his lead from the pit stop that Dick Johnson took, and Peter Brock is forging to the lead. Every second that he can make on the track is worth it in the pits. That means that he is just that far further ahead of Dick Johnson. Lap 70, 26 laps to go, and Peter Brock comes to the pits. He's coming very slowly down pit lane. He's true, ready to go, but Brock almost at a snail's pace as he comes into the pits. Watches on him. He's been
beside the race. The tank is being filled at the moment. He's taking a change of tyres. Car up on the floor jacks at the moment. First tank of fuel's gone in. Off come the two tyres. Brock is taking fuel. Johnson was in for just over the 15 seconds. Johnson has just passed Brock. Johnson has gone past. Brock has his hands up. There's some problem. The problem starting the car. They're going to have to push it. They're going to have to push it. Brock has started. Johnson has got past him, so now Brock will have to chase Johnson. And we've had just over 51 seconds of pit stop for Brock. 51 seconds for Peter Brock, and now he's after Johnson.
And Peter Brock, almost exactly the same time of pit stop that Dick Johnson took. Very disappointing for Peter Brock, because now Dick Johnson has virtually taken it all back on the road. And the status quo is about the same as it was before the two pit stops occurred. There's Johnson, car 17. Moving into the S's. Underneath Qantas Hill. With Brock still to enter the S's. So, in fact, Johnson will have opened an even greater lead on Peter Brock than he had before the two pit stops took place. Which puts Dick Johnson into a very good position in this event with only 20 laps remaining. Johnson's gone through. We wait now for Peter Brock to come down the straight to give us an idea of the distance between the two drivers. And as you can see, there goes Alan Grice through our screen now. And Peter Brock is a long way behind. There he is now coming through. So Peter Brock at more than 20 seconds behind easily. We're looking at about 24 seconds for Peter Brock. That's the distance behind. So after the two pit stops were over, there was about 11 seconds between the drivers before the pit stops, and now it's opened out to 24 seconds. That means that Peter Brock would have to catch Dick Johnson by more than a second a lap to be on his tail at the finish. Dick Johnson will be told by his pit crew next time through that he's got a 24-second advantage. He virtually has to match Peter Brock's times now to hold the race differential and win by 24 seconds to take his second victory in the Australian Endurance Championship this year. Leading the 3-litre class, the veteran race driver Barry Seaton in a Mark II Ford Capri V6. Seaton has quite a distance indeed, probably more than a lap from Brian Wheeler in a Mazda RX-3, and Seaton doing it easily as he always has done. Winner of the James Hardy 1000 back in the days when it was the Gallagher 500. This will be one of Seaton's last drives in a Ford Capri. He's bought a BMW 635. Just the same as Alan Grice's car, purchased it in race-going condition from England, and he'll be racing that in Australian touring car events next year. And we'll look forward to seeing the wily veteran Seaton in a car like that, sharing the drive this today with John Gates. The man has purchased this motor car, an ex-Seaton car. And it's good to see Barry Seaton quitting the V6 Capri class in a winning condition such as this.
And Gates Seaton still leading in Class 2 from Brian Wheeler in the Mazda RX-3. In third place is Bob Thomas, and then in fourth place, Burbridge in the Mazda.
One lap down on the leaders. Alan Moffat there with the brake lights flashing on the Mazda RX-7 finds himself in exactly the same position in which he's been in the last two long-distance races he's contested. In the Hang 10 400 at Sandown in Melbourne, this car's debut, Moffat finished in excellent sixth position while still feeling out the motor car. In the James Hardy 1000 at Bathurst in early October, Moffat finished third after the race was prematurely shortened by a massive prang at the top of the hill. Moffat, it is said, could well have done much better than that third position had the race run its full distance. Well, here we are over 300 kilometres, and Alan Moffat is hoping that something will happen to the two lead cars one lap ahead of him. He's had to take an unscheduled pit stop. He was hoping to get through this race without a tyre change and without a fuel stop. He did take a stop. It probably cost him about 40 seconds in the pits, plus the time getting in and out of the pits, and that, of course, has dropped him the one lap down. But even if he were on the same lap, it's doubtful that Moffat would be able to challenge Johnson and Brock, who are flying in their Falcon and Commodore respectively. Certainly Moffat, while he was fast in practice, a 1:16.6, 0.4 of a second under the lap record, was still a second off the pace that Johnson and Brock could establish. And it proves the point, I think, that longevity and reliability is what's going to win Alan Moffat races in this Mazda RX-7 next year, because a big small car, or a good small car, is still no match for a good big car. And that's a race adage that I think Alan Moffat at this stage is contemplating as he drives around one